This week, I murdered a rock, injured a stone, hospitalized a brick. I'm so mean I make medicine sick.
Top of the morning, fight fans. This is Kurt DeVille with Counterpunched Boxing News, and I have some new news concerning Lennox Lewis, Oleksandr Usyk, and Tyson, the Gypsy King Fury. Lennox Lewis makes his prediction on who he feels will be the victor in the undisputed clash. Okay? And of course, before we talk about that, we know Lennox Lewis was the last man to be undisputed of the heavyweight division. Before that was Hasim Rahman, and then Lennox Lewis got them right back. Okay? Mind you. And Lennox Lewis had this to say. He said, I'm a Fury fan right now. I saw him beat Deontay 3 times, and the way they did it, and the way he did it, he told us how he was going to do it. I didn't believe him in the second fight, but I believed him in the third and watched him do it. I always say, a good big guy can always beat a good small guy. And the former Olympic champion believes that the fans deserve to see the showdown. He also left us with this. He said, hey, Tyson Fury and Oleksandr Usyk, can we finally give the fans an undisputed heavyweight championship fight? 19 years is a long time. The fans deserve it. Let's get it cracking. He said, I'm sure that Tyson is not retired yet. Of course, we know that. He says, that's what he said. Okay. So, he picks Tyson Fury to beat Oleksandr Usyk. Let me counterpunch. First of all, I do appreciate that Lennox Lewis did say, hey, I'm a Tyson fan right now. So we pretty much know how it was going to sway. But it's more to that also, I feel. I feel Lennox Lewis is biased towards Tyson Fury, not because of, of any other thing of politics. I don't think it has anything to do with that, or British. No. I think Lennox Lewis is biased towards Tyson Fury or favors Tyson Fury because Tyson Fury is also a very big man like he was. See, birds from a feather flock together. And Lennox Lewis knows that he was always the bigger guy in the ring. And he was always the victor. Like Mike Tyson was the smaller guy, he was past his prime, but Lennox Lewis was in his. Big guys like that, he's seen how it was done. There's only been one other guy that was bigger than him, and it was probably like Vitali was pretty big. He was probably a little taller than Lennox, and then of course Michael Grant, and he beat them both. Okay. And I think Lennox Lewis, because he was able to overcome these smaller fighters, good or whatever, he sees himself through Tyson Fury because he sees, what, if I was the good big guy, I beat the good little guy. So therefore, Tyson Fury should do the same thing and follow my footsteps because that's normally how it naturally flows. Okay, where I feel that someone's success can kind of, it's easier for him to believe that because he was able to do it. And Tyson Fury is a very, very special talent. So I think Lennox Lewis, sees the attributes and the advantages that Tyson Fury has over Oleksandr Usyk. Therefore, he will go in favor of Tyson Fury simply because of that, because he knows what he had versus he sees that the same attributes in Tyson Fury, and Tyson Fury could exploit those like he did. But the question is, can he? And if he can, will he? But I'm with Lennox Lewis. I'm ready to see an undisputed fight because I think that's been something that's been held for so long or held back. AJ and Deontay, then Tyson and Anthony, Now it's Tyson and Oleksandr. It's like, yo, what's the deal? You know, let's get this on. Let's get this on and cracking, like Lennox Lewis says. And I think it's going to be a very good fight when it happens. But most importantly, I think it's going to be a lot better because it won't be rushed. Ironically, I'm ready to see the fight, but I do understand preparation time is key, especially when it comes to Usyk. See, Tyson is sitting there, like the turtle in the hare. Like, oh, I don't need this amount of time. He's coming off like the Chris Eubank Jr. attitude, like, oh, I'm the bigger dude, so therefore I'm going to go in there and mop the smaller guy. But see, what happens in situations like that, people come in overconfident. If you learned anything about that story, you come in overconfident and you're not prepared. Oleksandr Usyk is the master of preparation. So he's going to come in and he's going to show, hey, this is the reason why I took my time to properly condition and train, because I want to be in the best possible condition to take on the undisputed showdown, or the best quote unquote heavyweight in the world. So Oleksandr Usyk is going to be ready. So the good thing about this is if Tyson Fury beats Oleksandr Usyk, he will beat the best version of Oleksandr Usyk. It won't be old injuries. It won't be because he's not ready. It won't be because he was rushed. Okay? So those are the type of things you want to keep in mind when these two guys collide, finally. But anyway, you guys tell me what you think of Lennox Lewis predicting Tyson Fury to beat Oleksandr Usyk when they get it on. Of course, please subscribe. And you guys been Counterpunched. Peace!